In this lesson, we will discuss incident response training and testing. Now, when it comes to training and testing, many people think that they are the same thing, but in the world of incident response, they are different. First, we have training. Training is education to ensure employees and staff understand your processes, procedures, and priorities during an incident response. By conducting training, you're going to make sure that your people are ready to respond when something bad happens. Training should be provided to all employees with a relevant perspective and focus based on their needs because not everyone is going to get the same training. For example, if you're a first responder, you need training in a technical capacity. What are the procedures that you're going to follow? How are you going to re-image a machine? How do you remove malware? How do you change configuration settings? All of that stuff is part of your responding training. Now, if you're a manager or an executive, you're going to have different training requirements. You're going to be focused more on risk versus reward. You'll focus more on managerial decision making and communication across your organization and outside the organization with law enforcement and media as well. Our end users also need to be trained though. Our end users should be trained on the way to report if they suspect an incident is occurring. For instance, as an end user, if I open up my email and I see a phishing campaign, how do I report that to the service desk? If I went and clicked on one of those links, I'm going to need remedial training to know how to identify that in the future and make sure that I don't fall for that again. This is the idea of your end user training. They need training on how to be a better user and how to prevent incidents from occurring in the first place. Now, when you're providing training, one of the things you want to make sure you're capturing is lessons learned from the previous incidents. And you want to make sure you bring those back up during the training. Because when you have lessons learned, that means that something went wrong in the past, and how can we do better in the future is by training those people on the lessons that we've learned. If we just write down those lessons learned and nobody reads them again, then nobody gets training on it, and then we're going to be doomed to repeat those things again. And so we want to ensure that we're preventing that. Remember, when you're doing training, it's not just about technical skills here. You also need to include soft skills and relationship building within your teams, because that's important as well if you really want a high-functioning cybersecurity incident response team. Now, let's take a look at testing. Testing is the practical exercise of incident response procedures. With training, we're going to teach you what to do. In testing, we're going to make sure you know how to do it. Now, when you're dealing with testing, we'll often conduct a test to simulate a significant incident. Now, the challenge is doing this is very costly and it can become a complexity. For example, I've been involved with a lot of testing over the years. One such task was a full-scale exercise that showed exactly what we would do in the event if we had a large-scale data breach. Now, this went across multiple sites around the world and it cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so. But it made sure everyone knew what they were doing and that they could actually go through those actions and get a bad actor out of our systems. Now, when you're designing your tests, you can do it in one of three major ways. The first is the tabletop, the second is a penetration test, and the third is a full-scale exercise of simulation. Now, when we're dealing with a tabletop exercise or a TTX, this is an exercise that uses an incident response scenario against a framework or controls or a red team. Now, the reason we call it a tabletop exercise is because we're actually doing it on our tabletop and we're not physically doing it in our networks. In a tabletop, we might gather experts around the table and we'll start presenting scenarios. For instance, if I was leading the tabletop, we would say, hey, you have an indication of data breach occurring in this database server. What would you do? And the defenders would start saying what they would do, and each would take turns almost like they're role playing on what they would do in this particular scenario. Now, the benefit of doing a tabletop is that it's a lot less expensive than a full-blown exercise. But there are some negatives due to the fact that you can't really get the hands-on experience because you're not physically doing the things on the keyboard and making actions happen on the network. So it's really more of a theoretical exercise. Now, another way you can do this is you can break up people into red teams and blue teams. Now, the red teams are the attackers and the blue teams are the defenders. So you can actually take turns by saying, okay, here's the blue team scenario. This is what you detect. What do you do? And then based on what they say, the red team says, okay, then we would do X, Y, and Z. Then the blue team would say, well, we will see this and respond in A, B, and C way. And then they'll go back and forth several rounds to initiate attack, and defendant gets that tech go back and forth until we can see what the effects are. The benefits of doing a red team versus blue team type of scenario is that you're going to get live people thinking through both the attacker side and the defender side to help come up with a better solution and how to configure and better manage those controls to protect your network. Now, Another way you can do this is by actually getting people on the network. This is done through a penetration test. Now, a penetration test occurs when a red team attempts to conduct an intrusion into the network by using a specific scenario based on threat modeling. Now, this is an important concept here when we're talking about penetration tests because we're not just doing something against the network to see what we can do to get in. We have a specific goal in mind. So if my goal is to go after the database, I'm not going to throw a distributed denial of service attack at you. That wouldn't be a valid pen test. So instead, we have specific scenario based on the threat modeling, meaning we know what a regular adversary would do, and we're going to base our actions on that. Now, when you're dealing with a penetration test, you always have to agree on a clear methodology and rules of engagement before the penetration test is performed. This is critically important because there are rules to these things. As I said, I'm not just going to throw a distributed denial of service attack at you because that would probably be against the rules of engagement. Now, if they're in my rules of engagement, then it will be all fair game. But in most cases, that's not going to be in there. Some popular penetration testing tools and operating systems you might see in the real world are things like Metasploit, Cobalt Strike, Kali Linux, Parrot OS, and Commando OS. As a cybersecurity professional working as a network defender, if you ever see these tools or operating systems on your network, you should be thinking about the fact that they are penetration testing tools which could be used as part of a penetration test or even worse by an attacker, because most of these are open source tools that anyone can download and use. The final area we need to discuss in terms of training and testing for incident response is the use of a simulation. A simulation exercise is designed to go beyond theoretical tabletop discussions and involve realistic, hands-on scenarios that mimic actual incidents. These exercises provide a comprehensive view of how well your incident response teams can execute their roles in a controlled yet authentic environment. Simulation exercises can range from relatively simple scenarios, such as responding to simulated phishing attacks or ransomware infection, to complex scenarios that involve multi-stage attacks, data breaches, and coordination with external parties like law enforcement or public relations team. The goal of these simulations is to assess not only your technical skills, but also the ability to make sound decisions under pressure and effectively communicate within and outside the organization. When conducting simulations, it's essential to align them with your organization's threat landscape and risk profile. Simulations should challenge your incident response teams to think critically, adapt to evolving situations, and coordinate their efforts seamlessly. These exercises are invaluable for identifying gaps in your incident response plan, improving coordination between teams, and ensuring that everyone understands their roles during a real incident. By regularly incorporating simulation exercises into your incident response training and testing program, you can better prepare your organization to respond effectively to a wide range of cybersecurity incidents. So remember, training and testing are used to create a more robust incident response framework that can help your organization stay resilient in the face of evolving threats. Training is the educational process that equips employees and staff with the knowledge and skills needed to understand and respond effectively to incidents by focusing on processes, procedures, and priorities. Testing involves practical exercises that assess an individual or team's ability to execute incident response procedures to ensure that they can apply their training effectively in real-world scenarios. Simulation, on the other hand, refers to realistic, hands-on exercises that replicate actual incident response scenarios and provide comprehensive assessment of an incident response team's capabilities, decision-making skills, and communication under controlled conditions.